15 tracks that rocked block parties in the 80s but vanished from hip-hop history. Real talk from the archives, no cap. We're talking about Newcleus bringing electro-funk to the Bronx, Egyptian Lover creating West Coast electro magic, and Double D and Stinsky building the ultimate lesson tape that DJs still study today. This is Hip Hop Legends Archives, where we keep the culture alive, one forgotten gem at a time. We fact-check these stories against vinyl pressings, original Billboard charts, and interviews with hip-hop historians who lived through the golden era. Let's break it down from the beginning and bring these lost classics back to life. Before Spotify algorithms and viral TikTok sounds, hip-hop had a different kind of one-hit wonder. These weren't artists chasing mainstream success and failing. These were pioneers who dropped one incredible track that moved the culture forward, then disappeared into the shadows while others took the spotlight. Some of these tracks changed production styles, some started legendary beefs, and some just made people lose their minds on cardboard and linoleum. But they all deserve recognition. From electro-funk experiments to raw battle rhymes, these 15 tracks from 1980 through 1989 proved you only need one song to make hip-hop history. Let's count them down. Number 15, Funky 4+1. That's the Joint, from 1980. Before Sha Rock became the first woman to appear on national television performing hip-hop on Saturday Night Live, the Funky 4+1 dropped this absolute burner on Enjoy Records. The track featured KK Rockwell, Keith, Raheem, and the legendary Sha Rock trading verses over a stripped-down break that became a template for early rap records. The group had been rocking parties in the Bronx since the late 70s, and this track captured their live energy perfectly. Producer Bobby Robinson recorded them at his Harlem studio, keeping the production raw and immediate. Despite their SNL appearance and this classic track, the group never achieved commercial success and disbanded by the mid-80s, but this joint remains a foundational text in hip-hop history. Number 14, The Fearless Four, Rockin' It, from 1982. This Electrocraft Records release came out of the Bronx with Tito, Peso, Devastating Tito, and OC bringing pure battle energy to Wax. The track rode a relentless funk break while the MCs traded aggressive boasts that reflected the competitive nature of early hip-hop park jams. Producer Bobby Robinson, who also worked with Grandmaster Flash and the Sugar Hill Gang, captured the Fearless Four at their peak, when they were known for battling anyone, anywhere. The record reportedly sold well in New York but never broke nationally, and the group struggled with label issues that prevented them from capitalizing on the momentum. Still, DJs who know their history recognize Rockin' It as one of the hardest battle tracks from the era before battling became commercialized. Number 13, Jonzoon Crew, Pack Jam, Look Out for the OVC, from 1983. This Boston group brought futuristic electro-funk that sounded like Africa Bambaataa Planet Rock met Parliament Funkadelic in outer space. Producer Michael Jonzoon created layers of synthesizers and drum machines, including the iconic Roland TR-808, building a track that felt more like science fiction than street corner hip-hop. The lyrics warned about the optimum velocity coefficient, whatever that meant, but nobody cared because the beat was absolutely massive at skating rinks and block parties. The track reportedly peaked around number 56 on the Billboard R&B chart, but the Jonzoon Crew never captured that magic again. Still, producers like Africa Islam and Egyptian Lover cited this track as inspiration for pushing hip-hop's electronic boundaries beyond simple breakbeats. Number 12, Dimples D, Sucker DJs, I Will Teach You, from 1983. Dimples D came out of Los Angeles with serious attitude, calling out whack DJs over a minimalist electro beat that let her personality dominate. The track featured Dimples delivering rapid-fire disses at DJs who couldn't scratch, couldn't mix, and couldn't rock a party, establishing herself as West Coast hip-hop's first prominent female MC besides Lady B. Produced on a shoestring budget using early drum machines, the track's stripped-down sound actually worked in its favor, making Dimples' voice and delivery the undeniable focal point. Despite receiving play on Los Angeles radio and moving units locally, national distribution problems and label issues prevented the track from breaking beyond the West Coast. Dimples D continued recording through the mid-80s but never matched the raw energy and humor of this debut single. Number 11, Captain Rock, Cosmic Blast, The Return of Captain Rock, from 1983. Captain Rock came from DC, bringing go-go rhythms into hip-hop on Sugar Hill Records, creating something that sounded completely different from New York's boom bap or California's electro. The track featured live percussion, call-and-response vocals, and Chuck Brown-influenced grooves that captured DC's vibrant go-go scene meeting hip-hop culture. Produced by the Sugar Hill House Band, the track showcased how regional sounds were beginning to develop their own hip-hop identities outside New York's dominance. Captain Rock's fusion style was ahead of its time, but perhaps too ahead. Audiences in 1983 weren't ready for hip-hop that felt this organic and live. The track became legendary in Washington, D.C., and influenced later DMV artists, but nationally it remained an obscure footnote despite its innovation and energy. Number 10, West Street Mob, Breakdance Electric Boogie from 1983. Cut it in yellow. This Sugar Hill Records release became the soundtrack to b-boy battles across the country, with its pounding electro beat and explicit instructions for breaking moves. Produced by Joey Robinson Jr., the track combined the electro sound that Planet Rock popularized with direct references to breaking culture, windmills, backspins, and freezes, all got shouted out. The song captured exactly what was happening on cardboard in parks and community centers, making it feel like documentation as much as entertainment. According to sources, the track sold approximately 50,000 copies in its first months, primarily in urban markets where breaking culture thrived. But West Street Mob couldn't follow up with anything that matched the moment, and as breaking became commercialized and eventually declined, their signature track faded too. Still, old-school b-boys remember this as the sound of battles when breaking was still raw and competitive. Number 9. Raheem, Check Out the Radio from 1984. Not to be confused with Grandmaster Flash's Raheem, this Raheem came from New Jersey with Profile Records backing and a smooth delivery over synthesized funk. The track celebrated radio culture when hip-hop was just starting to get consistent airplay, name-checking DJs and stations that were supporting the culture. Producer Curtis Mantronic, before he became famous with Just Ice and his own Mantronics project, crafted crisp drum programming and futuristic synth lines that predicted where hip-hop production was heading. The single reportedly charted around number 70 on Billboard's R&B chart and received solid New York radio play, but Raheem never released another track that captured attention. Some sources suggest label politics and disputes over production credits derailed his career before it really started. Still, this track remains a time capsule of when hip-hop and radio were just beginning their complicated relationship. If you're loving these forgotten classics and you want to keep the culture alive, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into hip-hop history. We're bringing you the stories, the tracks, and the context that mainstream documentaries overlook. Real hip-hop heads recognize real research. Let's continue the countdown. Number 8. Newcleus, Jam On It, from 1984.
So I made up my mind just what to do, and I joined with the Jam On production group.
Okay, this one actually did get some commercial success, reportedly reaching number 56 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it's been completely forgotten by mainstream hip-hop history despite being absolutely revolutionary. Producers DJ and drummer Ben Senok created a cosmic electro-funk sound that combined vocoder effects, synthesizers, and the iconic wiki scratch simulation that became instantly recognizable. The track featured the character Cosmo D battling the computer MC at Cosmic Warfare, creating a sci-fi narrative that felt fresh and futuristic. Newcleus came out of Brooklyn, and their sound influenced electro and Miami bass music throughout the decade. Despite the success of Jam On It and strong album sales, they never crossed over to mainstream recognition, and later singles failed to capture the same lightning. But if you were at a skating rink or block party in 1984, you absolutely heard this track shaking speakers. Number 7, Egyptian Lover, Egypt, from 1984. Greg Broussard created West Coast electro that sounded absolutely futuristic, producing everything himself using drum machines and synthesizers from his bedroom in Los Angeles. Egypt featured layers of synthesized strings, pounding Roland TR-808 drums, and Egyptian Lover's smooth talk rap delivery about his pharaoh fantasies and dance floor domination. The track became massive at West Coast clubs and roller rinks, selling approximately 30,000 copies independently before Egyptian Empire Records even had proper distribution. Egyptian Lover pioneered bedroom production and independent hustle, selling records from his car trunk and booking his own shows throughout California. Despite his influence on West Coast hip-hop and electronic music, he never achieved mainstream success beyond the underground. Producers like Dr. Dre and DJ Quick have acknowledged Egyptian Lover's influence on their understanding of production and independence in hip-hop. Number 6, Steady B, Serious, from 1986. Philadelphia's Steady B came hard with this Jive Records release, delivering aggressive battle rhymes over a stark beat that stripped away electro's futuristic sounds for raw drum programming. Producer Lawrence Goodman, working under the name Dangerous D, created minimalist production that let Steady B's rapid-fire delivery dominate, predicting the stripped-down sound that would dominate the late 80s. The track reportedly received significant Philadelphia radio play and sold well regionally, establishing Steady B as Philly's premier battle MC. He followed up with several more singles, but Serious remained his most impactful track, the one that DJs reached for when battles got heated. Steady B's later life took tragic turns, and his story ended far from hip-hop glory, but this track captured him at his absolute peak. For Philadelphia hip-hop heads, Serious represents when their city's battle culture was as fierce as anywhere in the country. Number 5, Whistle, Just Buggin' from 1986.
Robbing, stealing, or mugging, in fact, don't take it seriously, we're only bugging.
This Select Records release from Brooklyn teenagers Cool Doobie and DJ Silver Fox became a summertime anthem with its infectious hook and playful energy. The track sampled heavily from older funk records, layering breaks and horn stabs over crisp drum programming, creating something that felt simultaneously nostalgic and fresh. The single reportedly peaked around number 70 on Billboard's R&B chart and received heavy rotation on New York radio, making Whistle briefly famous in the tri-state area. The duo's youthful energy and party-focused lyrics offered a contrast to the increasingly serious and political bent of mid-80s hip-hop. But one-hit wonder syndrome hit hard. Their follow-up singles couldn't capture the same magic, and by 1988, Whistle had disappeared from the scene entirely. Still, if you grew up in New York during the summer of 1986, you remember this track bumping from every boombox and car. Number 4, Spoonie G, The Godfather from 1987.
In an hour or two, me and you can just quit it. I'm the Godfather.
Wait, Spoonie G? The pioneer who recorded Love Rap and Spoonin' Rap back in 1980? Exactly. By 1987, Spoonie had been largely forgotten as newer artists dominated, but he came back with this Tough City Records release that showcased his evolution. The Godfather featured updated production with drum machines and samples, while Spoonie delivered more sophisticated wordplay than his earlier party-focused tracks. The single received minimal promotion and didn't chart, but it demonstrated that first-generation MCs could adapt to hip-hop's rapidly changing sound. Unfortunately, the track got lost in 1987's avalanche of releases from younger artists, and Spoonie never achieved a comeback. Still, The Godfather deserves recognition as proof that hip-hop's pioneers weren't standing still. They were growing with the culture, even when audiences had moved on to the next generation. Number 3, UTFO, Roxanne, from 1984. Now technically UTFO had other notable tracks, but Roxanne was such a massive hit that nothing else came close, making them effectively one-hit wonders. The track sparked the legendary Roxanne Wars when 14-year-old Roxanne Shante recorded Roxanne's Revenge as a response, creating hip-hop's first major diss battle. Produced by Full Force, the track featured smooth production and UTFO's harmonized hook over crisp drums, creating something that worked for both street corners and radio. The single reportedly sold over 500,000 copies and peaked around number 10th on Billboard's R&B chart. Massive success for 1984 hip-hop. But instead of capitalizing on the moment, UTFO got caught in the battle drama, and their follow-up releases couldn't escape the shadow of Roxanne and the answer records it spawned. Still, this track changed hip-hop by proving that battles could sell records, and that narrative drama could drive the culture forward. Number 2, Double D and Stinsky, Lessons 2 and 3 from 1984 and 1985.
Play it on the radio. Sure, do you love the Supreme Team show?
Okay, these weren't traditional hip-hop tracks. They were collage masterpieces that deconstructed hip-hop culture itself. Steve Stein and Doug DeFranco, working at a New York audio studio, created elaborate cut-and-paste compositions using samples from dozens of sources. James Brown, Muhammad Ali speeches, commercials, and classic breaks all layered together. Lesson 3, The History of Hip-Hop Mix, especially became legendary, tracing hip-hop's evolution using only samples, creating a sonic documentary before documentary hip-hop existed. The lessons circulated on cassette through underground DJ networks and reportedly sold about 20,000 copies through independent distribution, but they were often bootlegged and copied thousands more times. Legal issues prevented official releases for years because of the extensive sampling, but DJs studied these lessons like textbooks. Double D and Stinsky's work influenced everyone from DJ Shadow to the Avalanches, proving that turntablism could be as creative as any other form of musical composition. Number 1, Roxanne Shante, Have a Nice Day from 1987.
Whenever I'm in a battle, yo, I don't play, so you best go about your way and have a nice day.
Wait, Roxanne Shante, didn't she have multiple hits? True, but while Roxanne's Revenge was her breakthrough, this 1987 track represented her artistic peak before label drama derailed her momentum.
Have a Nice Day featured Marley Marl's production at its finest. Hard drums, jazz samples, and stripped-down funk that let Roxanne's wordplay dominate completely. She delivered some of her sharpest rhymes, moving beyond battle mode into more complex storytelling and social commentary about relationships and street life. The track received significant New York radio play, but reportedly underperformed commercially compared to her earlier battle records, possibly because audiences wanted beef rather than artistry. After this, Roxanne's career got tangled in contract disputes and personal struggles that prevented her from capitalizing on her immense talent. But Have a Nice Day stands as proof that Roxanne Shante was far more than the teenager who responded to UTFO. She was one of the sharpest MCs of the entire decade period. This track deserves recognition as her true masterpiece, even if it didn't sell as well as the controversy-driven earlier records. Moved, these 15 tracks represent something crucial about hip-hop's evolution through the 1980s. Not every important record becomes a classic that gets anthologized and celebrated. Some tracks change the culture, influence future artists, and move the art form forward, then fade into obscurity while others get the glory. But these forgotten gems deserve recognition. They're part of hip-hop's DNA, even if mainstream history books overlook them. From electro experiments to battle classics, from regional sounds to production innovations, these one-hit wonders prove that impact isn't measured by chart positions or career longevity alone. Sometimes one track is enough to change everything, to inspire the next generation, to document a moment that matters. These 15 artists did exactly that, and their contributions deserve respect and remembrance. If this documentary opened your ears to forgotten classics, show some love by hitting that like button and dropping a comment telling us which track surprised you most. Subscribe to Hip Hop Legends Archives and hit the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the culture's hidden history. We've got more forgotten gems, untold stories, and cultural deep dives coming your way. Share this video with the real hip-hop heads in your life who appreciate the full history, not just the greatest hits. Let's keep these stories alive and honor every artist who contributed to building this culture we love. Peace.